cholesterol is not bad. It is really important for you to understand that cholesterol in itself is not bad, but excess cholesterol, that too LDL and VLDL in excess, is bad. Watch this video till the end if you want to know everything about cholesterol. First, let's understand what is cholesterol. So, cholesterol is a waxy lipoprotein. Lipoprotein means a protein surrounded by a lipid bilayer. So, it is a waxy lipoprotein which runs through our bloodstream and it is produced in our liver. It is extremely essential. Now, why is cholesterol important? Cholesterol is important because it has really important functions in our body. Like, number one, it is an essential part of our cell membrane. See, in our cell membrane, there are small chunks of cholesterol present in the phospholipid bilayer. Therefore, cholesterol is a really important part of our cell membrane. Without cholesterol, our cell membrane is incomplete. Number two, it produces all steroid hormones like androgens, glucocorticoids, and mineralocorticoids. So, all steroid hormones are produced by cholesterol. Number 3, it produces cortisol, also known as the stress hormone. So, cholesterol also helps in production of cortisol, which is also known as the stress hormone. I have already made a detailed video on cortisol. You can check that out if you want to. It helps in absorption of vitamin D and E. See, cholesterol helps in absorption of the vitamins which are fat soluble. Therefore, it helps in absorption of vitamin D and E. And lastly, it produces bile juice. See, the bile salts have enzymes which help in digestion of fat. Bile juice is one of the most important enzymes which helps in digestion of fat, and bile juice is produced by cholesterol. Now, where do we get cholesterol from? We get cholesterol from mainly two sources. Number one, our diet. There are several food sources which are high in cholesterol, like eggs, red meat, dairy, and many other foods. Number 2, we get cholesterol from our liver. Our liver naturally produces cholesterol. See, our liver produces enough cholesterol to meet our daily requirements. That is the two sources where we get cholesterol from. Our diet and our liver naturally produces cholesterol. Let's understand the concept of a lipoprotein. Cholesterol is nothing but a lipoprotein. So, let's understand what a lipoprotein is. A lipoprotein is a combination of a protein and a fat. So, it is essentially a protein surrounded by a fat layer. Now, why so? Because the protein needs to be attached with the fat in order to get transported. So, it can rush through our bloodstream. That is the concept of a lipoprotein. Cholesterol is nothing but a lipoprotein. Now, let's come to the types of cholesterol. So basically, there are 3 types of cholesterol: HDL, LDL and VLDL. HDL stands for high density lipoprotein. It is also known as the good cholesterol. Why is it good? Because it follows a centripetal transport mechanism, which means the cholesterol clogged in our arteries, it transports it back to the liver. That's why it follows a centripetal transport mechanism. So that's why it is known as good cholesterol. It removes the LDL deposited in our arteries. As mentioned earlier, the cholesterol deposited in our arteries is basically LDL. It basically removes the LDL from our arteries and transports it back to the liver, where it can be processed further. Number 2, LDL, low density lipoprotein. This is also known as the bad cholesterol. Bad cholesterol. Why? Because it follows a peripheral transport mechanism. It is opposite effect of HDL. That means it deposits the cholesterol back to our arteries, which leads to deposition of cholesterol plaque. And if this plaque is transported in our coronary artery, it can lead to myocardial infarction, also known as heart attack. So, this heart attack is caused by oxidation of LDL. But LDL is also essential as it is also required by our body. We cannot ignore it completely and we cannot cut out LDL completely. Number 3, VLDL, very low density lipoprotein. It is also known as bad cholesterol. So, what is the role of VLDL? VLDL is known to transport triglycerides, which are the stored form of fat in our body, deposited in the adipose tissue. Now, research says that our intake of dietary cholesterol is not linked with increasing blood cholesterol. So, which brings me to a very important question. If our dietary cholesterol is not raising our blood cholesterol, then what is raising our blood cholesterol? Let's find out what is raising our blood cholesterol. What causes high cholesterol? Number 1, saturated fatty acids and trans fats. These are also known as the bad fatty acids. And if talking about trans fats, these are the worst fatty acids. I'll talk about trans fats later in my video. So, these two fatty acids are directly linked with increase in blood cholesterol levels. Next, sedentary lifestyle. People who do not do any physical activity and are completely inactive are at a higher risk of developing high cholesterol. Next, family history. If you have a family history of high cholesterol, then also you are at a high risk of developing high cholesterol. Next, certain medications. Certain medicines are known to increase cholesterol levels in the bloodstream. So, it is really important for you to consult your doctor before starting with medications that raise cholesterol if you have high cholesterol already. Now, let's come to trans fats. What are trans fats? Trans fats are the worst form of fat. They are the worst possible fat you can have. Why am I saying this? Because there is the process of conversion. So, what they do is, they take the unsaturated fatty acids, which are also known as the good fatty acids, and convert them into saturated fatty acids purposely, which are also known as the bad fatty acids. And how do they do that? By adding hydrogen and removing the carbon-carbon double bond. So, that's why they are also known as hydrogenated oils, because they are infused with hydrogen. There are also certain health problems associated with trans fats. So, trans fats are known to cause cancer, diabetes, cholesterol and also dementia. Coming back to cholesterol. If you have high cholesterol, how do I reduce my high cholesterol? So, it's pretty simple. First of all, lose the extra weight. If you're overweight, shedding off the extra weight will really help you to reduce your cholesterol levels. Number 2, physical exercise. Exercising daily is really important to reduce your cholesterol levels. Next, this is the most important part. Your diet. Limit intake of saturated and trans fats. So, as I told you earlier, the saturated fatty acids and the trans fats are known to raise your cholesterol levels. So, we need to minimize the intake of saturated fatty acids and completely stop the intake of trans fats. Next, have more of unsaturated fats. So, the unsaturated fatty acids are known to increase our HDL, which is also known as good cholesterol. So, our aim should be having more of unsaturated fatty acids, less of saturated fatty acids, and no trans fats. So, what all these things will result in? So, basically, our aim should be our HDL should go up, our LDL should go down, and our triglycerides level also should go down. So, we need to manage our lipid profile accordingly, and we need to improve our lipid profile if you have high cholesterol. What are normal cholesterol levels? So, I am listing a table below which will tell you what are the normal cholesterol levels for people of all age groups and who is at risk of developing high cholesterol. What are the risk factors of high cholesterol? So, if you have high cholesterol, you are at a high risk of getting a heart attack. Now, let's understand why. When the LDL plate gets deposited deposited into the coronary artery, it can lead to the deposition of plaque and narrowing of the coronary artery. So coronary artery is the artery which supplies blood to the heart, and due to thinning of that artery, due to deposition of plaque, blood may not be able to reach the heart, which can lead to myocardial infarction, also known as heart attack. Next, stroke. Something similar can happen with the brain. If the LDL plaque gets deposited into the artery which supplies blood to the brain, blood may not reach the brain and it may lead to stroke. Next, when are you at a high risk of developing high cholesterol? When? Age-related issues. As we get to grow older, our cholesterol level tends to increase. So, senior citizens are at a higher risk of developing high cholesterol. Next, being overweight. Being overweight is also linked to having high cholesterol. So it is really important for us to maintain our weight and make sure that we are not becoming overweight. How do I know if I have high cholesterol? So, there are no symptoms of high cholesterol as such. So, how will I get to know if I have high cholesterol? It's simple. You will have to get your lipid profile test done regularly. It is a blood test. I suggest you get it done every 3 months if you have high cholesterol. Your lipid profile test gives you your HDL levels, your LDL levels, and your triglycerides level. It is very important for us to increase our HDL, decrease our LDL, and decrease our triglycerides level. And all of these three things should be in range. Do I need daily? So, as I mentioned earlier, our liver naturally produces the cholesterol we need. So, as we know this, we do not need much of cholesterol because our liver naturally produces all the cholesterol we need. So, should I be taking cholesterol? The USDA recommends 300 mg of cholesterol daily. You can go up to 300 mg of cholesterol daily without any problems. But it is really important for us to remember that this is the upper limit and you should not go above 300 mg of cholesterol per day through your diet. Thanks for watching. Please let me know what is the next video you would want to see in my channel.